Hello and welcome to the Bright Light Wellness YouTube and the Bright Light Wellness Substack. I'll be recording this on both platforms for you guys. If you're not over on my Substack, go check it out. You now actually get two free courses when you join as a paid subscriber on my Substack, Bright Light Wellness. You get a course called how, why, when, and where to use blue blockers. So it teaches you all about blocking blue light and how to do it and how to use blue blockers effectively, why you need to use them, when you need to use them, what's the context, all the things, and a little bit about why it's so important for you to do so. Another one you get is going to be my homeopathy for acutes. So, like, it's like a first aid acute. So, your cuts, your bruises, your scrapes, your lacerations, your wounds, your migraine, your headaches, your fevers, you're just your basic everyday run-of-the-mill things that we deal with. Know the remedies to have and how to use them. So, if you join me as a paid subscriber, you now both get both of those. They are videos. The blue blockers guide is about 30 minutes, and the homeopathy one for acutes is about an hour and a half of content. And they also come with ebooks as well. So not only do you get the videos to watch, but you also get the ebooks to print out and have and save on your desktop or wherever, and you could use for life. So, little perk. Not only for joining my Substack as a paid subscriber, but you also get all my other paid content, which is quite abundant. Okay, so now let's get into today's topic. We're going to talk about this thing about this misconception in chronic illness that there's just this one thing that's going to fix you. And I remember when I was chronically ill, I was like, oh, if I could just find this like one thing, right? Like there's this one thing that's going to fix all of my problems. It's the right supplement, it's the right diet, it's the right homeopathic remedy, it's the right, I don't know, workout routine, it's the right whatever it was, light environment. Like there was just one thing that I had to do to fix all my problems. And the truth is that that's an unrealistic expectation. There is no one supplement, there is no one detox protocol, there is no one remedy, there is no one diet. And I see this over and over and over again is that people try to force healing through this one lens and they get stuck or they get rigid or they get dogmatic or they like cling to things, cling to diagnoses, cling to protocols that aren't working and all of this. And then that keeps them quite stuck. So I was trained as a classical homeopath, right? Very deeply rooted in that. And I still deeply value that foundation. In fact, that is the goal to get you to a classical prescription, which takes time, or a constitutional prescription. We have to like peel back those layers, and that happens over time. But as I started working with more complex chronic illness cases, and even myself, I realized that many people, of course, they're not just dealing with one layer. There's many, many layers to an onion. And I've said this before, we spiral back. It's a spiraling layer. It's a spiraling onion. We spiral back to these layers and we need to go back to it. And we're not the same person who took that remedy in the past, right? Um, so Many people are dealing with high toxic burden, poor circadian rhythms, low voltage, low energy, low redox, high toxic burden, extreme nervous system dysregulation, a lot of emotional suppression, a lot of trauma patterns, a lot of undernourishment and depletion. And we need to look at all of this because all of these things are going on. So we can't just worry about just one of these things. We need to support the whole system. Because if we just treat one part of that, the whole system can't move forward, right? So homeopathy is a big part of what I do, obviously, and this is how I help the body reorganize itself, right? It helps the person get into what we call the direction of cure. It stimulates the vital force, and direction of cure can look like a retracing of old symptoms from the past. It can look like the mental emotional clearing, but the physical, maybe worsening. It's typical, actually. That is a very common thing. Um, it could look like a retracing, like I said, or like I've had a client just recently say to me, "Oh, I have this weird rash that came out on my arm," or I've had medical interventions, or bruised feeling, or it could look like, you know, something that you've suppressed in the past all of a sudden come back, like acne or a UTI or a bronchitis or something like something that or ear infection, something that you suppressed in the past, all of a sudden returning. Um, and it always looks like the mental emotional clearing up before the physical. That's typical. And it brings up what needs to be processed. And that also looks like emotional clearing. So big cries, big griefs coming out, anger, suppressed anger coming out, whatever. We see a lot of this. Of course, homeopathy is working on the physical and mental emotional level, and it initiates movement. So I ground the system with homeopathy. It's always something that I work on. And now, what else I do is if the body's overloaded and can't fully respond, it's overloaded with too much toxins, mold, chemicals, sluggish detox pathways, right? Um, we cannot force the detox, and homeopathic remedies can bring up some detox. A good homeopathic match to you is going to bring up some detox. We can't force it, right? But we do need to support it. So, we actually have to help the body process what homeopathy is bringing up. So sometimes, if homeopathy is bringing up a lot of emotional things, I come in with flower essences and I support the system with flower essences. Sometimes I support the system with flower essences right away. But a lot of times, if I feel like a lot of emotional things are coming up, I jump in and I bring flower essences. If I see like stuck, stagnant detoxification, right? The person is just not able, the drainage is not working, the detox pathways are not open. I bring in sarcodes, liver, kidney. I have a poly organ that I use. I have certain remedies that I use for lymphatics and gallbladder and all of these different like thyroid and organ support remedies adrenals that can really be supportive. I actually make custom organ blends for clients now. So this can be a huge win in opening up the detox pathways. I have an MTHFR blend that I use. Like I said, I personally take Polyorgan Plus, which also has a little bit of a custom blend in for me. Like I also, in my Polyorgan Plus, it has thymus gland and it also has bladder, right? Because these are areas of weakness. My immune system and my bladder have been weak for a very long time. So I'm supporting those energetically. So I am adding those things in, right, to support the client with the detoxification, right? Make sure those detox pathways are open, right? So we can process what homeopathy is bringing up. Um, this is the emotional piece of healing and the nervous system and allowing it time to really stick. This is a piece that a lot of people either avoid or underestimate. So a lot of times there's a lot of emotional release that comes up, like I said, and I support that with flower essences. Um, new safety in the bottom body when the body begins to feel safe and the body's like, oh, I'm kind of feeling safe now, and maybe some of this trauma has moved from my system. A lot of times the body has enough energy. The physical things can actually usually get worse, because that's what happens when the body's recalibrating. And there's also letting go of patterns, of course, as well in the emotional healing. Because if the system doesn't feel safe, it will hold on to illness. And even if everything else is right, but when it does start feeling safe and it does have the voltage and the capacity to start healing, there are some what we call aggravations or healing crises that could happen, or physical things getting worse because the body's now able to finally release and handle it. Um, so the way I see it, these things are not separate. Homeopathy opens up the system and the vital force to start. It's the catalyst, it's the nudge. It starts moving things, okay? Detox supports the movement, so I use a lot of drainage remedies and sarcodes and organ supports to help move it along. And emotional work allows the integration, and that's where the flower essences come in, and certainly homeopathic remedies absolutely open up the floodgates when it comes to emotional healing. And depending on the person, I'm constantly feeling into which layer needs the most support each time, right? So that's why continuing to work with your homeopath is so important. And I recommend those 8-week follow-ups, because then I'm like, oh, 8 weeks later, I can assess where you're at and what needs support, right? I don't throw homeopathic detox, and we didn't even really talk about homeopathic detox, but detox can mean like using isotherapy to, like, you've never been well since birth control, detoxing birth control, or antibiotics, or medications that you've taken, or things like that. I don't throw that out to begin with. I don't throw organ supports from flower essences, and I don't throw 20 things at a person. It's a slow build of what we're adding in and removing and using and twisting and turning. It's a process, right? So that's why working with somebody for some time and, also going through the going like seeing them every 8 weeks or even every 4 weeks in some chronic illness cases is really important. Okay. So, because we have to feel into what the person needs in the moment. So, I have clients where we start remedies and suddenly emotions surface, symptoms shift, and if we don't support the body detox wise or emotionally, they can get very overwhelmed. So that's why we need to bring in other things to support them. So it's not just about this one remedy being enough. I think now that we need to have more things to support people. So, and sometimes we're doing all the detoxes in the world, but nothing is moving because the nervous system is still stuck in survival mode. And that is the main thing here. The body has to feel safe to actually heal. But it's like, what modality is going to help the body feel safe? Is it going to be circadian rhythms? Is it going to be flower essences? Is it going to be homeopathy? Is it going to be something else? Right? There are other things. Is it rhythmic movement method? There are lots of things that we can do to support the system, right? So this is especially true for people who feel like they've tried everything as nothing is working. They've tried everything separately, but not in the way the body can actually integrate. So we do need to layer all of these things in together, I find. The homeopathy, the flower essences, the tissue salts to ground the body and to give them the nutrients they need. The the rhythmic movements, the circadian rhythms, all of these things, the nutrition, all of these things, the structured water, all of these things come together to support a person. It's not just one thing that helps you heal. So, we're not going to do everything all at once, like I just said, and all the time. It's layered, it's individualized, and it's also based on a person's capacity, which is huge. And that's something that I'm always feeling into. That's the big part of this work, knowing when to push and knowing when to support. Okay. When I can nudge the system with a remedy, or when I need to just support with flower essences or SAR codes, which is homeopathic organ support, and vice versa. I need to ground them with some tissue salts. I need to do nothing right now homeopathically, right? It's about individualized support and knowing when and why to push the body. So, healing chronic illness is not about finding the perfect protocol, and I'm not trying to do the same either. It's a nuanced approach. It's an individualized approach, and it's an approach that needs to be fine-tuned and adjusted often. And it's about supporting the body in ways that actually restores a changed state, or the state is changed. And that usually requires more than one tool. It requires the combination at the right time. Okay. So it's kind of like this slow, integrative approach that we do together. Okay. So if this resonates with you, I'm here to support you through homeopathic, flower essences, tissue salts, and now even weaving in astrology. So definitely let me know if this is something that's resonating. I'm here to support you. Follow this channel, and yeah, I hope it resonated and it's something you feel called to do. And I am accepting new clients, so you can come in into my practice and join me, and we'll work on, really healing. Okay. All right. Have an awesome rest of your day.